Now at TaylorMade, we offer 3 distinctive different styles of fits of boat covers: universal, semi-custom, and custom cover fits. They each offer different features and benefits, and a lot of which cover you choose depends upon what use you're going to use for that cover. Now, the first line, or first style of fit cover we have is the universal line. Now with the universal covers are more of a generic fit. The patterns are cut more liberally. There's typically a limited number of different styles and sizes that we offer. But we do offer them in a kind of a range of different fabric and features as well. So, universal entry-level cover is our Rainbreaker universal style covers. They're made of a lightweight polyester. They're maybe more to fit the application of storage or mooring. Not really the cover that you want to trailer 60 miles an hour down the road. Now, as the first upgrade from the Rainbreaker, we offer our boat guard covers. Now the boat guard covers are made in our legacy fabric. They are fully trailerable. We offer 11 or 12 different SKUs, so practically every hull style of any trailerable boat, you can find the pattern that you need. And then up from there, we go to our new Eclipse universal covers. Now that's the cover that we've chosen for our boat today. Now the Eclipse, although it is a universal in terms of its fit, it offers an upgrade in fabric and also an upgrade in its features. Okay, the first thing we need to know to determine the right boat cover for this boat is the centerline and beam dimensions. Now quite often the manufacturer will tell you the length of the boat, like this is a 23-foot sea ring. Well, you can't necessarily go by that. You want to take a dimension. So what you need is a tape measure, obviously longer than the length of your boat. And start in the bow, and with a helper, pick a point. It's the farthest point on the bow. And you want to measure back towards the stern. Now you want to measure at a horizontal plane. So you don't want to go up and over windshields or tops or anything like that. You want a horizontal dimension straight through the boat, all the way to the farthest point on the stern. Now for this boat, we're at 22 feet 8 inches. So that would be the centerline measurement that we're going to use to choose our boat cover. The next dimension you need is the beam width of your boat. Now, very often the manufacturers will specify a beam width. That's not always the widest point of the boat. So what you want to do is look at your hull style and take a dimension across the boat from port to starboard at the widest point of your boat. Again, I got a helper over here. I'm going to hold the tape measure at the widest point, and it looks like 102 inches for this boat. Okay, we've chosen a clean, dry place to unfold our boat cover. You want to try to keep the cover as clean as you can. In the event that you've either chosen the wrong hull style or perhaps the cover doesn't fit your boat quite right, you're going to want to return it. You always want to be able to take it back in the best possible condition. So, the first thing we've done is to locate the bow section of the cover. Now the bow section of the cover on the underside has a couple of labels sewn in. The first label indicates that this is the bow. You're going to need to identify that. And then the identification label is sewn in. That will have the part number of the cover, the description of it, and the date of manufacture. It's always a good idea, before you go too far, make sure the part number on the sewn in label matches the part number on the box. So now you're ready to stretch this cover out and get ready to put it on the boat. Okay, with the helper in the bow, I've got the stern section, and what we're going to do is we're going to roll this thing with the top side up and get ready to put it over the bow of the boat. Okay, we've hooked the bow portion of the cover over the very front of the boat. Now we're going to roll the cover back towards the stern. When you get to points of the windshield or any other sharp area perhaps, you want to be a little bit careful as you pull the cover over that you don't catch on it and cut the fabric. So as you're doing this, you want to be careful and cognizant of all of those potential areas. Okay, so we've got our eclipse cover over the boat, started with the bow, worked our way to the stern, got it all the way over the boat. Now we've centered it, make sure it's centered port to starboard over the boat as well. And now we're going to get ready to tighten up the shock cord that's in the hem running all the way around the bottom of this cover. Now take a note, remember this is a universal fit cover, so this is an IO boat, but if I had an outboard, this cover would go right up over your outboard motor and secure the same way that I'm going to go through with you right now. Okay, in the stern you're going to find a cutout of in the cover. In the shock cord, this is 3/16 shock cord that's sewn into the hem. You're going to pull this and tighten that fabric up tight against the hull of your boat all the way around. So you're simply going to tug on this until you get the right amount of tension around the perimeter of the boat. Okay, so we've tightened the shock cord up around the perimeter of this boat. And take a note that if the cover's going to primarily be used for storage on the trailer perhaps, maybe even indoors, you probably don't want to put a lot of tension on it. Just makes it easier to put the cover on and off. But if the cover's going to be used in a mooring situation where it's going to be outdoors, you probably want to tighten that shock cord up pretty good so it fits nice and snug against the hull. Any excess shock cord, after you've tightened it up, simply cut it off and discard it. Okay, we've got our eclipse cover onto our Sea Ray boat now. I'm going to speak a little bit about the nature of the universal fit. If you can see, the cover kind of comes down past the rub rail a little bit further in some places than in others. The positioning of this particular windshield matches up pretty good with the accommodations made in this pattern. So we've got a pretty good, nice, even spot from here to the bow. But if you notice in the back, the cover gets a little wider. Well, that's going to vary with your particular boat and the specifics of your hull style and those dimensions. So, a good starting cover, but remember, the universal fits aren't going to be quite as close to matching your exact boat as the semi-customs and customs will be. I mentioned before that the new Boat Guard Eclipse covers have some nice features and benefits, and I wanted to kind of go over them with you. Included with the boat cover is a 3-piece telescoping support pole to help add life to the cover by supporting it in the areas. It comes with a storage bag, a nice mesh storage bag, so the cover, if it is put away a little damp, will have the opportunity to dry out. And it also comes with 8 webbing tie-down straps with quick-release buckles. Now the cover itself also has a couple of nice features that I wanted to point out. We've included in the design of the cover these strap attachment areas that spread the tension out over more of the sewn portion of the cover. Instead of having it all the tension located right on one point, it's spread out over 8 or 10 inches of sewn area. The other features on these covers is this sewn-in vent. Now the vent actually has a rigid portion sewn in so that while you're trailering, it will allow air to go underneath there, and you can see the open mesh to let that airflow happen. It also will allow your cover to breathe a little bit better on some of the models. All right, to secure the cover onto the boat to your trailer, we've included these quick-on tie-down buckles and 8-foot long pieces of strap webbing. Now what you want to do, find a convenient spot on the trailer, wrap the webbing around it, get both ends of the end of the webbing, take the buckles, you're going to loop it up through because these are adjustable, and back down through the buckle. All right, reconnect. Now you can adjust that for the proper tensioning. Okay, before we finish putting the cover on the boat, wanted to install the 3-piece adjustable support pole. So telescope it out, tighten it down with the thumb screws, and typically in a bow rider you're going to want to put the support pole in the cockpit area somewhere behind the windshield to just give that cover a little extra support. Okay, we've got that in place. Let's finish up. Okay, we're about finishing up. I'm tightening up on my last tie down. One thing you want to remember too is if you have a lot of extra scrap in certain areas around the boat on these tie downs, feel free to cut these off, but flame the edges so that they don't fray. And we're about done here. Thank you very much.